it's turned out to be kind of probably one of the best eras in the street's history, I think, for the shops, because everybody's independent. There's no sort of one chain owning lots of shops, which has made a really big difference to the feel of the street. It's a good place to come now because you've got so much option, and every shop is different, you know, so there's a lot of variety. And as I said, because every shop's independent, it's competitive, and there's a good selection of stuff, so I think that's made it a very good era. You know, Denmark Street was obviously very famous originally for its publishing houses. It's always had an association with music going back a very long time, right back to the dancehall Victorian times. But you know, it got named as the sort of British Tin Pan Alley in the 50s, and prior to that, in the sort of you know, pre-war and just after the war, you had a lot of publishing houses and loads of people making music and stuff around the street, and one of the reasons this place became so successful was because of that, basically. That very reason. You know, you had people coming down from publishing houses recording something in here in the studio and then taking up an acetate of it so they could play it and hear what it would sound like, having musicians recording a song, and that way they'd actually buy a song, which is cool. Today, you know, since the sort of 70s, it's kind of become synonymous with music shops, and there were a lot of music shops in the area, particularly in Soho, but they all moved here to St Giles and to this little street. Largely started in the 70s, really, in the late 60s and 70s. And it's been the same ever since. This room, in Regent Sounds, loads of people recorded here. Yeah, the Stones did their first 2 records, the Who recorded a second side of one of their albums here. The Kinks did lots of demos, lots of the 60s bands, the British bands did lots of demos here. I mean, nearly everybody you can think of. Elton John played piano here on sessions, all sorts of other people, you name it. Black Sabbath recorded their first 2 records here in the early 70s. Including Paranoid, which is obviously a very famous song. Lots of other little things, and loads of demos for bigger songs were done here. And Jimi Hendrix came to record here, but got thrown out for being too loud. So lots of stories. Guitar Shop's been 9 years. Guitar Shop. So it's still quite young compared to some of the other guitar shops on the street. It's well established now, and you know, it's better than some of the other shops. You know, I think in terms of the breadth of what we do, in terms of our specialism, you know, by far the best Fender shop in London. You know, we have the most amount of Fender stock that you'll find. Some of the old kind of guys come back in. I mean, it's been interesting because some of them have been very informative. If the really big kind of names, we haven't really seen any of those guys come back. We haven't had any of the Stones in or anything like that. We have had people like Andy Fairweather Lowe, who was in a band called the Amen Corner in the 60s, had loads of #1s in Britain. He's someone who's obviously been in the industry a long time. He plays with people like Eric Clapton all the time now. He's a very good guitar player. He told me some great stories about this place, and people like Brian Poole, who was in a band called the Tremolos, and lots of British-based bands, they've all come back. Ray and Dave Davis came back for a documentary they were filming, came in and looked around and walked out, and loads of guys like that. But the bigger guys, you know, the more famous, like, you know, the Stones and the Who, and stuff, we haven't had any of those guys. But you know, you never know, maybe one day they'll pop in, you never know. Well, there's a lot. I mean, if you're into guitars, obviously, you know, it would be advisable to go and see every shop, and see what every shop has, and have a look for things. And there's a huge variety of guitars throughout all of the different shops, and other instruments too, of course. In the daytime, you know, the shops are all there to have a look at. There's a couple of places nearby to get some good food. There's loads of good places on either side of the street to get food. I mean, loads of different options. Then in the evening, you know, you've got the 12 Bar Club across the road, which plays live music every night of the week, 365 days a year, well, apart from Christmas Day, every other day. And that's great fun. They stay open late, and they've always got music on. And downstairs in the Alley Cat, of course, that's open most nights of the week as well. And they also have a lot of live music and lots going on, so that's always worth checking out. And then, you know, it's again, either side, you've got loads of other venues, lots in Soho, lots here, a couple of others just up the road, you know. Favourite place? Well, obviously the shop, but in terms of other places, yeah, I mean, St Giles Church is very interesting because of the history. It's a beautiful church inside, it's got a really nice atmosphere. And then 12 Bar Club, I've spent too many hours of my life in there, but it's got a certain atmosphere. And I like a lot of the other shops, you know, some of them look fantastic, there's some great shops. So yeah, lots of places really. I kind of like it as a whole.